Hi, and welcome to the Accelerated Freedom Formula Telesummit Virtual Conference. Your host, Miriam Robot. I'm here today with this fabulous entrepreneur that almost looks like she's lived 9 lives. She is Katana Abbott. She's a CFP, a life and legacy wealth coach, and she's a contributor to over 3 books. She is the host of Smart Woman Talk Radio with over 800,000 subscribers worldwide. Katana has a really interesting story because she rose from a life of poverty, and she tells you about the struggles of trying to achieve financial security. And then at the age of 48, she sold her $1 million financial planning practice to launch Smart Women's Coaching in Midlife Millionaires, where she offers private wealth coaching and transformational retreats to Costa Rica and Panama. After working with thousands of women, Katana has developed a unique approach to helping women create true wealth and a life of vibrant health, prosperity, and happiness. Welcome, Katana.
Thank you so much for having me here. I really am excited, and I've been looking forward to this. I love this idea of video too. I have to tell you,
Oh, great.
innovative.
Well, I love it too because you make such a stronger connection with people. So I do want to talk to you about understanding that you've done an original survey to hundreds of women with some important results. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we actually did the survey twice. And the first time I did the survey, it was in 2009, right after the mortgage debacle and the stock market crashing. And it was actually going on during that whole thing. And we asked women and then we did it again in 2014, just so you know. And so we asked women, what's the single biggest challenge holding you back from living your perfect life? And number one was money.
Oh, wow.
But it was followed by confidence and clarity. And with clarity, that expanded to not knowing where to start. So recently, I saw another survey that was from Fidelity, and it's called the FIT survey. And they confirmed this. And what was interesting, I don't know if you're going to believe this, but of women, this is what they found, who have a financial advisor, half of them have not even contacted or met with their advisor. Half. And a lot of them probably don't even look at those statements. And so this really was confirming. And it went on to say that women are not comfortable talking about money, and they basically think it's too personal. And what have we been told all our life? Don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics, and don't talk about money. So that's why our programs are great, because we get women talking about money. Programs like this, where women, can hear people like us talk about money, and then you create a forum for them to really connect with people about their money. So, I have this financial literacy program that I actually go live into shelters. And so there's a shelter here in Oakland County, and they get women from all walks of life. So, but these women they have children, and their kids have been abused, either sexually or physically, or maybe the wife's afraid of the husband or the boyfriend that she's living with. So I go out and meet with these women, and the first thing I do is not teach them how to budget or how to save money. We get into that. We talk about where they are with money, their beliefs, and one of the things we'll be talking about is money personalities. We go into that, but we create a really safe space for these women because and it creates huge shifts in their lives for them to really understand it and imagine what this does for their children, because they're raising these children. And again, if they can change their mindset and be confident and understand money. And so what ends up happening for these women at the end of the program, I've done it twice there, is I see them graduate. I'm friends with them on Facebook. They get, I've seen them get great jobs. One woman went from living in transitional housing to getting a job because she didn't have a job. And then she actually bought a house for her kids. Really, really amazing. So Yeah.
Well, what I love about this work is it's actually near and dear to your heart too, because I read about your book, thank God.
Did I not send it to you?
What was that?
Did I not send it to you?
Oh, no, I didn't, but I bought it and read it. And what I loved was your story from where you were to where you are today. So I'd love you to spend just a few minutes filling in the readers on your story, because I think they can put the work that you do at these shelters in context as well.
So my mother and I were both these women. So today, I live an amazing life, and I live on a lake. I work from a beautiful office surrounded by water on two sides. I got a beautiful husband that I adore. We've been married 30 years, but it hasn't always been this way. So when I was just 6 years old, um, my father died, and my mother. When I was 6 years old, my father died, and my mother was left with three children, 2, 4, and 6, and I was the oldest. And so because he had been in the service, she had life insurance that she paid cash for a house. And then she had income coming in, veterans and Social Security for herself and for us. And then we kids got free tuition to any university in the country. So we really were doing pretty well, but she wanted a man, her Prince Charming, to come in and save her. And she married someone from the church. He ended up being a monster. So the next 9 years, there was so much abuse. And she didn't want to believe it. And so after 9 years, she ended up homeless with breast cancer, because when there's abuse, I want to share this, there's financial abuse. He took everything. She had paid cash for that house. She ended up homeless. So you think that I would have learned, right? No. We go back to the familiar so often. And I don't know if you've seen this, Marianne, but I ended up at 19 marrying my own monster. And because of the things that happened in my life, I was very strong, and I got out of it, pretty much unscathed, except when he put me in the hospital when I tried to leave him. But that experience created the foundation for what I do today. And I want everyone to think about your childhood, because the things that happened to you when you were young probably have a huge role to play in what you're doing today. And I really believe there's always a gift, because there's this quote I love by Anne Bancroft, and it says the things that we overcome in life really become our strength. So when I look over my life, I really have no regrets. And I realized that at one point that it was all perfect, the good and the bad. And, and I've been able to take and find the gift in that adversity. So I want to give you an example. So when I talk to you about thinking about the things that happened to you and how they are playing out in your life in a positive way. One of the things my mom did is put us in parochial school, and she drove the school bus. And so every year we were always fundraising. So like the Girl Scouts selling the cookies, we were selling Texas fruit cakes and different things. I always came out number one, and I loved it. I got recognition. One of the biggest things we did was, for years, from 12 to probably I was 16 years old, so we went door to door collecting dollars for the poor and the needy. And so we called it in-gathering, collecting holiday dollars. And Marianne, I would come home as a little child after going door to door, in the winter here in Michigan, door to door, knocking on people's doors. I know they would be against the law today to let your kids do that. My mom driving the car slowly down the road. And I would come home with $100 back in the 70s.
Wow.
And they would write who collected how much. It was really cute. But I got so much recognition out of that later in life, when, I told you I left the husband, and after a year, and I was trying to figure out what could I do, because I lost that free tuition when I married the ex. And so here I was at 21 years old, and I thought, what is it I could do? I didn't even finish college, believe it or not. I said, I can sell. So I went and interviewed at a couple companies, and I chose a company called Metro Trading Association, where business owners trade services. I also interviewed at IDS, which is where I ended up in the financial planning practice that I sold for $1 million at one point. But the God always has, or the universe, however you look at it, has this plan for us. Maybe we choose it, however it happens, that sometimes when we get diverted, we have to trust, no matter how lousy it might feel, no matter how horrible things are, we have to trust that there is a gift here. So had I not taken that first job, which I went through a lot of trials and tribulations, but it was the people that I met during that time, it was about a 5-year period, that would later become my very best clients in the financial planning practice that I started and did for 20 years. And that's why I'm saying you have to trust it. Know that everything that happens is perfect. So it's like a theme. It's my theme, is to always trust that there's a gift.
Oh, that's fabulous. And you talk about money stories and our money personalities. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So every woman has a money story. And I mean, I've done hundreds of these conversations, coaching sessions with women and just a few men so far. But they all have an underlying money story and a money personality. And it has to do with their experiences, and it creates their money mindset. So you've seen how, I'm sure working with women, how many we undercharge, we overgive. We undervalue ourselves. I just got off the phone with someone and, she says she's bartering right now. And I really believe it comes from being told, you have to wait to be asked, wait before speaking. I remember that one. But how about this? We weren't allowed to ask the boy on the date or to the prom or even to get married. Now, I don't know if that's changing, but I know that's what we were told. And this idea of waiting and being second, boys are always told to go for it and to compete, and that wasn't ladylike. So it really has affected us on our wealth and our net worth, and it creates this self-limiting belief. So I'm going to talk about 5 personalities. I love this. I get so passionate about it. So, and you'll love them too. So if you have a paper and pencil, you might want to write this down. So there's 5, and they're love, security, value, status, and recognition. So the love personality we'll talk about first. So I'm going to talk about what the personality is, what their desire is, their challenge, their disempowering belief, and how it shows up in your business or how it shows up in your life. So the love personality, as you can imagine, they look at money almost like play money. And I actually had a lady say to me once, she goes, it's like Monopoly money. But they have no connection. So think about this. If you look at money as play money, or you don't really have a connection to it, good or bad,
yeah.
Make a note of that. The desire is belonging. So something happened when they were little about belonging. The challenge is self-acceptance. So how this shows up is, because I always have them come up with what is the belief? What is the belief that you have about money? So it ends up, I need to do whatever it takes to get love. So how it shows up in your life would be buying, always like the way you show love is by buying things. I've got a friend, oh my gosh, she's always giving gifts. And how she sees love, and maybe when she was a child, the mom wasn't there, and how they covered up for that was to buy a gift, if that makes sense. So they're always spending money maybe that they don't have. They could run up charge cards. I've seen these women. Oh, one of my friends went through $1 million in 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
They can file bankruptcy. They don't think about the consequences of money or debt. And so they could, create debt, or they can, actually go bankrupt. And you may see, don't look at the financial statements, probably one of the ones that keeps it in the drawer. But again, they hide their feelings rather than speak up. So you can, in buying multiple things. Okay, multiple things. Okay, security. Now this is my husband. And their desire is freedom, but their challenge is trust. How do you like that? You see how they go together?
Yeah.
So they want freedom, but then they don't trust people. So the belief is, I never know when what I have, love, money, let's say their job, a person might be taken from me or disappear. So I was doing, I worked with one security personality who was a guy. His mother was taken from him at 3 years old, and she was in the hospital for a month, and she lost a lung. And when I asked him, where do you feel that in your body? He told me it was one of the chakras. I said, where were you when that happened? I'm in the basement, and I'm playing with my toys, and I'm all by myself, and my mom's gone. See? Mm-hmm. So now it shows up in his life everywhere. And so now what happens here? These people overthink purchases. They micromanage money. When I pull up in the car, after shopping, my husband already knows how much I spent. He's got some kind of app on his phone, loves it, So they live frugally, usually beneath. We wouldn't be living on the lake if it wasn't for me, see, because my husband would be living, and I don't want to badmouth, specific, but he'd be living in a very simple house, let's say, right? But self-denial, they may undercharge because a little money's better than nothing. So think about this in your business. If these are feelings, they want to do everything themselves. So they don't want to hire people. And, we always talk about this idea of delegating and focusing on your strengths. So they may be the jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, the third is value. And so with the value personality, this person, they desire significance, but their challenge is boundaries, saying no, for example, or taking, undue risks. And so their disempowering belief is, I need to prove I'm a good person or I'm good enough. Okay, so a lot of women are value or maybe secondary value. So how this shows up, it's being taken advantage of. How about this? Giving to the point of resentment. Mm-hmm. And I've got a friend who, it's almost like every week, she's just waiting to see who is it I need to take care of this week. It's like there's always some kind of drama. So overextending their time, always in a state of overwhelm, comparing and measuring themselves to other, not saving enough for emergencies, creating debt. They could say, well, something bad always happens to me. Okay. So I know this might sound horrible, but with all of these, there's like these are the negative things. This is the worst. And then by working on it, we can move to being a powerful value person. So there's always the new empowering things that you need to do. So the other one is status. So with status, they need to be validated. So imagine this could be a parent that was really hard on a child, right? Because then their challenge is balance. So think of someone that they can never relax or always go, go, go. And then they have to have the best of everything. So the belief, it's whatever I have or achieve is never enough. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And this is the one that I know so many women get hung up around in a big way.
Yes. And how that shows up, compulsively spending, for example, picking up the tab even when you're in debt because it's a status thing. Maybe taking people on vacation with you when you can't even afford it. They buy expensive items. So they're going to have the fancy car, the gadgets. Mm-hmm. And needing to have the best, so the really Prada purse, let's say, okay, always wanting more, but it's also doing things to the extreme. So you can see that in business. And then I've also found that a lot of entrepreneurs are recognition personalities, and I'm one. And so they desire respect. And because of something that happened to them in their childhood, they weren't respected. They had to create some kind of maybe imaginary world almost, imagining if things could be different. So you can see how that might be a Walt Disney or a creative person that because their challenge is realism, pie in the sky ideas, right? And so the disempowering belief is that I need to prove I'm right or I need to prove I can do it. So see an entrepreneur, because that's who is on this telesummit, having that belief that they will never give up. They can do it. This can show up in them taking undue risk often being taken advantage of. They may do high risk investments to get that big win. They may not let someone go who's taking advantage of them because they will give people second chances. Or maybe it is because they don't want to admit they were wrong hiring that person, or they have to prove they can do it no matter what. So they often will create debt by investing in people or ideas that don't pay off.
So what do you do? And that's a mouthful. And I was
it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was writing down feverishly as you were talking about them, because what I like is the framework. I have never really heard money mindset put in this kind of framework, and how it really connects to our intrinsic value of ourselves, or where we're missing it. And so what do you do when you recognize yourself in one of these pitches in order to change this mindset for yourself?
So I have a 3-step process. So we go through this process of identifying your disempowering belief, but also when we identify it, I ask the person, if you're watching this, if you picked out a belief that I don't feel like I'm good enough, or I have to prove I can do it, I'll never give up kind of thing, I want you to close your eyes and then say to yourself, where do I feel that in my body? Because that's what I have them do. I have them go and find out where they feel it in their body, and it's always a chakra. So it could be down at the sacral chakra. It could be in your heart. Sometimes it's in the throat. Mm-hmm. And so then what you want to do is say, where was I when I first had that experience? Because every single experience is stored in the body. I mean, this is quantum physics, and it's pretty well known now. So it'll bring up a memory, an experience, and so that's trapped energy, and it's also known as our subconscious. And every time you, as a woman, go to stand in your power and make a decision, I'm going to start crying. That little girl pops up, and she is running the show. So what you need to do is you need to release that trapped energy, that belief, because it's no longer true, but you're living like it's true, and you can release it. And it's like peeling an onion, because something else is going to come up later. So what you can do is you can release it through breath work. That's what I do. Some people do tapping. Therapy, I just don't think that's going to do it. I know a lot of people listening to this call probably do a lot of energy work, but it's really releasing that. So I help them release it. And it's amazing. We do the inner child work. We do some breath work around it. And then there's this big release. And what you'll notice when you're releasing, if it goes up, it's anger. And if it goes down, it's regret. Mm-hmm. So we release it totally out till it's gone. And then you come up with your new empowering belief. And so for each of these, disempowering belief, there's an empowering belief. And then there's some action steps that you would do, some exercises. And this is a great thing to do on a retreat or in a mastermind, in a course, and even a one-on-one call, So, and I'm happy to explore this with anyone who wants to do it. And they can contact me. I've actually got a website they can go to called talkwithkatana.com. And they can book a 30-minute session to explore this and see if they want to do. It's about an hour and a half session we do to do this.
To change your whole money story. Yes. And what I love is that the comment that you made, that not only does it show up in your personal life, but as entrepreneurs, it also shows up in your business life. Like you can be chasing after certain things because you're not feeling fulfilled, or you're not recognized, or whatever your personality was.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really powerful. So you talk about this idea of the millionaire mindset, and that millionaires actually think very differently than middle class. So what are some interesting differences that you can share with us?
It's really interesting because if you think about it, people say they come to different consultants, coaches, and they say, I want marketing, teach me marketing. And Marianne, tell me, isn't it always mindset they need? They don't say I need mindset, but that's what they need, right?
It really is. It's around how do they frame themselves and how do they see their thoughts and where are their beliefs leading them towards. Yeah.
So this mindset, you can imagine if you have this little girl running the show, 3-year-old, 6-year-old, how that's going to affect you. For you to be the powerful, millionaire entrepreneur, 6-figure entrepreneur that you want to be, you really need to start thinking like a millionaire. So I've done, a lot of research on this, and I'm going to give you the name of a book that I highly recommend that you buy. In fact, I'm going to have Louis Schiff on the radio show, Smart Women Talk, and then we're going to be doing a promotion for him for some of the work he does because it's so great. But he has a book, and it's called Business Brilliant. And it's interviews with some of the most brilliant entrepreneurs of all time. And it's pretty recent people. And then he did a survey with 800 individual investors. And so I want to summarize what he found.
Sure.
4 things. And then we'll talk a little bit about maybe 3 of them. But he said, this is the crux of it all. Learn what you do best. So figure out what you're great at. It's easy. And then earn money doing that, just doing that. And then find assistance with everything else, which we know is delegating, right? Partnering, that kind of thing. And then using persistence to overcome adversity. In other words, never giving up.
Mm-hmm.
So the first tip I want to share is what we just said, and focus on your strengths, period. So find out what you're really great at and do that. And so in this study that he did, they interviewed all these people, 800 people, and they had the middle class who had under $1 million invested, the middle class millionaires with 1 million to 10 million. Then they had the high net worth with 10 million to 30, and then the ultra high net worth Shark Tank people, 30 million plus. Okay, so it's good, but the middle class, okay, which is most of the people, which is so sad, think completely different than the wealthy. So the first thing we talked about was find out what you do best, right? And so one of the things they said, how many skills do you have? So think about how many skills you have. The middle class had an average of 6 skills. The high net worth and the ultra rich only had 2 skills.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, that jack of all trades, master of none. So as you fine tune your skills and expertise and learn what you're great at and focus on doing that, and that's how I built a business that I was able to sell for $1 million. I really focused on just what I did. But when you do that, that is how you're going to create wealth. So the other question they said is, do you try to get better? This is probably going to be obvious now after I said this, but do you try to get better at things you're not good at? Because we've been taught that, right?
Right.
The middle class, 6 out of 10 said, yes, try to get better at things you're not good at, because that's what they were taught. The ultra high, the Shark Tank people, 0 said yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, they know to focus on your strengths and then outsource, delegate, and eliminate everything else. So I'm going to give you, how do you know what you're good at? I'm going to give you an exercise real quick that you can do. And on the, make a T, and then on the top of the left side of the paper, put a happy face. And on the top of the right side, make an unhappy face. And then on the left side, I want you to just go back to your childhood and today, write all the things that are easy for you, that you love doing, your hobbies, your passions, your talents, your unique abilities. I want you to do things, write down things that are so easy that they're effortless, because a lot of times what's effortless, you're not going to think it's a big deal, but that is the one thing you should be doing. So this is a free thing you can do. Then what I want you to do, and also what have you done where you've made the most money? Okay. Then I want you on the right side to put down all the things that drain your energy, that you do anyways, because maybe you don't want to pay someone, things that get on your to-do list, they never get done, things that you don't make a lot of money at and it makes you feel bad about yourself. but all the things that you just really dislike. And then your goal is on the right side, I want you to eliminate all the things that are just, you shouldn't even bother with them, get rid of them. It might be you have too many projects you're working on. I've got to actually simplify some of the things I'm doing, and I'm in the process of doing that. So eliminate, delegate, and outsource. Then your goal is to find out how can you make money doing what you love doing on that left side, and focus 80% of your time doing those things, and only 20% of your time focused on the things that drain your energy as you're delegating and training people. And so there's something called front stage, backstage that I utilize. And so some people are front stage, they're extroverts, they are out front, they're salespeople. And it doesn't matter if you're a CPA, an engineer, an attorney, a financial planner, some are front stage. They're the salespeople, business development, but they lack follow through. They don't like the details. So I'm a front stage person. And then there's the backstage person. And that person, they love the details. Okay, they're often introverts, and one's not better than the other, but they're the ones that actually make things happen with the follow through. So in my financial planning practice, I was a front stage person, and my assistant John was the backstage person. And so my last year before I retired, I did 30 events. And what was interesting is he was the one that ran the financial plans, managed the assets, did the client data so things would run smoothly. Then we found out what was it he was great at and all the things that were draining his energy, and we hired an assistant for him. And so that is how we ended up creating this business that I actually left for a full year. I had a disability, and the business ran perfectly without me, and we had ongoing residual income, so I still got all this income. I paid them, and I realized this is your opportunity to do your nonprofit. And really, it was really pretty powerful. But had I not done that, and I had to say John is the expert to people, and I had to really transition that business over to him.
Right.
And so it was really pretty powerful to do that. And I really suggest that people find out what you're great at and focus on it. And the wealthy really understand, because what I just shared with you is the 80-20 rule. And the wealthy understand that 80% of your results come from 20% of the effort. I found out 80% of my revenue at the financial planning firm was coming from 20% of my clients.
Right.
And yeah.
Which it happens in most businesses. If you do that analysis, it's perfect.
Yes.
Anna, we are running out of time, and I know that you have some gifts to share. So can you share your gifts, please?
Yes. So if you want to go deeper on any of this, I created a 3-part video series. So it's 2 13-minute videos with a workbook that go deeper into the mindset. And one of the things that we didn't get to talk about, and you have to go hear this, it's how to create a millionaire lifestyle with out $1 million in the bank. and it's really powerful, and it's going to make you very optimistic and excited. So you'll want it. That's video number 2, I believe. And then the third one is a 30-minute video that was filmed at the International Speakers Institute, and I'm on a stage, and it's been edited, and it's also, I take you through my 6 pillars of Awakened Prosperity system, which is the system that I take people through, and from dream to discovery to actually taking the leap and working through the fear, creating the plan, and then dance. The dance is when we actually are implementing, testing, doing the failing, getting back up, and finally you reach mastery. So I take you through that whole process with a workbook, and it's all free. And then if you're interested in, again, the complimentary consultation, it's, talkwithkatana.com. But the website for that, I don't know if you've posted it.
There's a link that went into everyone's email today that is watching the video now, and it will also be posted as well. So all of the listeners, you'll have a link that you can go directly to these gifts. You can go to her website and click on for the consult if you'd like it. So, Katana, thank you so much. This is so valuable, and I love your energy, and I love the way you share, and I love how we always give back our greatest pains in life, and that your journey has really taken you full circle from not much financial support to having the life that you desire to then helping everyone else get the life they desire too. So I thank you so much for that.
And thank you so much for inviting me to be here with your beautiful community.
Oh, we're happy to have you. And for those listening, stay tuned. We have some other experts along the way. And I really hope that you go and take her up on her powerful offer, because the videos are sensational. Thanks again. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon.